Welcome. Before we start, we offer our Mangalacharan prayers. There you go. We offer Mangalacharan prayers and we can get started. Om Ajnanathimmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Utapadakammalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhayascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhya Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivas Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Matsamo nasti papatma na paradhi chakaschana parihare pilajjame kim bhruve purushottama bhumau skalitapadanam bhumireva avalambanam tvai jata paradhanam tvameva sharanam prabho adadanastrinam danter idam yache punah punah Srimad Rupa Padam Bhoja Tulisyam Janma Janmani Rajoham Syam Bhave Bhave. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So we completed still chapter 2 of Nectar of Devotion. If we can go to the slides, perhaps a little bit down. Hare Krishna. Probably next class onwards, I can just go all the way down, please. Whatever we have discussed so far. Yeah. More, yes. Next slide, I think. Huh? What happened? That's the only slide you have? Yeah. Can you get it? All right, while they set up, we'll just do a quick recap of what we discussed so far. Um, so, in introduction, we discussed the definition of pure devotional service, and we spent a lot of time discussing which verse, the famous verse that you have to remember. I'm telling you, it is going to come in exam. Anya bilashita shunyam jnana karmadyanavritam anukulyena krishnano shilanam bhaktiruttama. So we spent what is the pure devotional service of the definition. Then we spent extensively some time on understanding the primary, the secondary characteristic of pure devotion. Then also we spend some time discussing why Srila Rupa Goswami gave that verse in that kind of very succinct form, and where there was no scope of misunderstanding anything other than pure devotional thank you, anything other than pure devotional service being an act of service that is favorable to Krishna. Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam. We discussed at length. We also discussed the fact that the secondary characteristics is it's not covered with jnana or karma. So if you can go down the slides, this says so far, if it's the right one. Yeah. Okay, next time onwards, I'll split the slides so that you don't have any. Yeah, so far. So you can see that introduction, we defined pure devotional service. Chapter 1, we discussed the 6 characteristics of pure devotional service. Chapter 2, 6 characteristics of devotional service. Anybody? Kleshagni, which destroys all miseries. Then it is Shubhada, which is auspicious. It has a special kind of happiness. Sandrananda. Sudurlabha, it's very difficult to achieve. Excellent. Moksha Lagutakrita. Thank you for bringing it up, because that is something we will discuss today at length as well. Then one more. That we discussed, bliss. That Sandrananda Visheshatma is one. Yeah. Excellent. Sri Krishna Akarshani, which is, it attracts Krishna. Then we discussed the practice of, I'll take questions, yeah. Then we discussed practice of pure devotional service in chapter 2. And then the chapter 3, today what we discuss will be like what are the basic qualities, or who is eligible for pure devotional service. You had a question? Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So while I was learning about the different stages of devotional service, I've heard of certain stages in Bhakti from sadhus where it's like chanting and nam smaran happens on every breath unconsciously. And is that actually a higher state of japa, like chanting without beats? Or is that like a slippery slope to, I don't know, like getting derailed from japa? And is that something that we should even think about or focus on during sadhana bhakti? Especially like, let's say we are like at work or something, and then we don't have our beats, but we try to like work on that.
So if I understand your question, should I just not chant without any beads and just silently meditate on the names of Krishna?
Especially like in the current like ashrams that we are in, like brahmacharya, grahastha, we can't have the beats like 24/7, but the goal is to like get to a state where we can chant 24/7. So like after the prescribed number of rounds, what like is chanting on every breath? Is that something we should even like think about or focus on, or is that something that can derail us especially in sadhana bhakti? And is that actually like a state of like high bhakti where some sadhus have a...
I get it. So basically, if I paraphrase your question just to get the clarity, after my 16 rounds, I don't have access to beats for some unknown reasons. And then can I chant, Krishna in every breath?
Oh, is that something that is first like, is that a higher stage in bhakti? That's my question, like the first question. And then second, like, is that something that we should even focus on at the sadhana bhakti state, or is that...
The very definition of sadhana bhakti is that we don't have that taste. And we are trying to get that taste. When you get that taste, then the name of Krishna and the thinking of Krishna comes in every breath automatically. You don't need to endeavor extraneously for that. So the basic thing is you can chant for as many times as you want. It's advisable to chant minimum of 16. That the word is minimum there. But you can chant all day long if you feel like it. Unfortunately, in sadhana stage, for most of the devotees, chanting of Krishna is not the same or it's not the same sweet tasteness as you are in Raganuga or other stages of bhakti. So it will automatically come. So just be focused on what is required to do minimum. Most importantly, do it daily with quality. So to do 16 rounds daily with quality is a tough act to follow every single day with the life's changing situations, circumstances, body changing, mind changing, family changing, right? I mean, we had parents and now we have somebody else and tomorrow we have kids and then it's a whole change that's going on. But in spite of that, if you can chant your 16 rounds, then, Is that helpful?
And that stage where like Nam is on every breath, which stage does it fall under?
It usually comes in Raganuga, which we will discuss towards 15 and 16. So we have a long ways to go before we come there. Chapter 3 and chapter 4 we'll discuss. Chapter 3, next slide please. So one of the questions that is asked is, who is having the basic qualification of performing bhakti? Who can do bhakti? Who can do pure devotional service? It's a very interesting question to ask. And where do we get that from? So kindly repeat after me. This is the 14th verse. So basically, chapters 3 and 4 cover from the verse number 14 to all the way till 59. And we'll come to that, but we'll discuss this. So kindly repeat after me. Yaha kenyapyati bhagena jata shraddosya sevane nati sakto na vairagya bhag asyam adhikaryasa yaha kenapyati bhagyena jata shraddosya sevane nati sakto na vairagya bhag asyam adhikaryasa. Anand Swarup, please, the translation.
The qualified candidate is described as follows: the person who has developed faith in serving the Lord by the impressions arising from previous association with devotees, who is not too attached to material objects and is not too detached, is qualified for Vaidhi Bhakti.
So here there are three qualities of a personality that is qualified for Vaidhi Bhakti. The first quality is he or she is neither too attached to material objects, nor they hate material objects. That kind of is understandable a little bit. Why is that so? Is because in bhakti, there is lot of engagement with matter in service of the Lord. For example, Koladi Prabhu is there on the altar. Now he is going to go prepare nice foodstuffs, and we have dresses, we have garlands, we have the whole altar, we have the floor, we have the bouquet, everything that seems to be made of matter, correct? And as a pujari, we are engaging in the matter. But because that matter is engaged in the service of the Lord, that matter actually becomes very dear to the Vaidhi Bhakta. The Aarti plate, just the incense, the tulasi leaves, the flowers, in one sense, they are all material. They are not quote unquote spiritual. But if you detest them, if you hate them, which can be actually used in the service of the Lord, then you are automatically disqualified from bhakti. But when you are too attached to matter, not knowing that actually they belong to Krishna and need to be used in his service, but to be used for me, then again that brings about a disqualification of bhakti. So neither too attached to matter, nor hating matter. That is where the point comes about. And for example, prasadams. Prasadams is food that you can eat thinking, if you go outside the whole world, if you go to any restaurant that they serve a lot of stuff, the person who orders the food is under the impression that I am going to this restaurant and I need to enjoy this food stuff. And that is one extreme. The other extreme is Mayavadis who say that, I'll just eat 2 carrots a day or, 3 carrots a day and just completely go in a very deep artificial renunciation so that I can attain Brahman because everything matter is bothering me. Again, in the Vaya medium is that we'll offer everything to Krishna, and to the best of our ability in the modern context, we can offer everything to Krishna before we can have prasadam. So you can see how bhakti has this via medium with matter. And why do we do that? There is a deep philosophical fundamental aspect to it, but we'll get to that, which is the foundation of the Gaudiya Vaishnava Siddhanta, which is Achintya Bheda Bheda. And that's a whole other topic. But in a sense, that if you can see Krishna in matter and spirit, then it becomes a harmonious juxtaposition of serving Krishna. But when you see one as not from Krishna, matter is detestable and hateable because it is deviating me from Krishna, then you don't have the right approach towards matter. And that is helpful in so many ways. I mean, you can take, for example, anyways, we will not get into it. We'll go a little bit more. But those two of the 3 qualities, neither being too attached to the matter, not being detested from matter, that is understandable, right? But this is a little tricky part. If you go there, the person who has developed faith in serving the Lord by the impressions arising from previous association. This is the tricky part. How do you define this? What if a person doesn't have? Or how does this come about? Because bhakti is not dependent on your pious activities. It is not dependent on your past sinful activities. Or bhakti is not given to those who are completely sinful. There is a caveat though, we'll come to that point. Prabhupada actually discusses that. Because this will rise to the impression that I don't care about pious or impious acts because bhakti anyway is independent, I'll get it. So why should I even perform, pious Or why should I not do impious? It doesn't matter. And it can be as basic as, for example, being very harsh to others, just in the name, what is pious, what is impious, what is harsh, what is soft, it's all. Or you can say, if there is a person, a homeless person or a beggar, how should I give? Or what is this? This is all piety. It's all karmic things. I should not give. The essence of this is that pious acts somehow lead to you getting in contact with a pure devotee. And it could be really simple, as much as you are going in the world, you are not a devotee, you have nothing to do. I am happy with my life, I'm just what I am, I'm just going about doing my own business on my road, I'm going to work. And you have a stop sign, and you will see a sadhu waiting to cross the road. It could be as much as you wait for the sadhu to cross the road first before you drive. And that person has no clue who I helped. I'm just a nice person, a kind person, a person who helps others. But because I helped a particular sadhu or a pure devotee, that becomes my ajnata sukruti. That becomes the impressions I'll take. So, in what capacity, in what way, we don't know. You could have just helped a person just by giving water. For example, you were traveling in a flight, and somehow you came in a pure devotee, and that pure devotee might not be a sannyasi. It could be an ordinary person. Somehow or other, a person comes into contact with a pure devotee, and that is ajnata sukruti that can give rise to bhakti. There is no other way into bhakti. And if you take the next slide, please. Somebody, Lakshmi, can read this is what Srila Prabhupada writes.
On account of his association with Mahatmas or great souls, 100% engaged in the devotional service of the Lord, one may attain a little bit of attraction for Sri Krishna, but at the same time, one may remain very much attached to fruitive activities and material sense enjoyment, and not be prepared to undergo the different types of renunciation. Such a person, if his unflinching attraction to Krishna, becomes an eligible candidate for discharging devotional service.
So you can see how, the act of just coming in contact with a devotee, or maybe you sat in the class, or maybe you just did some, there was a huge program and you just helped, just whatever, clean, you just helped, you got something, some way or other, because of that attraction, then you get, or that sort of little service to Mahatmas. But there are some qualifications, but Preeti, I'll take your question before I continue.
Prabhuji, what if someone comes to devotional life, but before that, like they had their past and probably they might be non-vegetarian perhaps, but once they come into the devotional life, but after that there is this constant guilt that before coming to the devotional life I was non-vegetarian, and that guilt is becoming so much that it's like constantly with you, because the more you read scriptures, the more you realize what mistake you might have done, and that's actually becoming an impediment. So how to come out of it? Because sometimes it's just that all of us have our past. Some of us remember, some of us don't, probably because of our previous lives. But how to then deal with this guilt?
If a person goes to the doctor and says, my situation is so bad that you cannot cure it, what's the point? The doctor will say, okay, good luck. The idea is you desperately need medical attention. Maybe in the past, I'll throw a concrete example. You were a patient with diabetes, and diabetes actually is pretty serious if you neglect it, if you let it go out of control. It can result in heart problems, it can result in kidney failure or blindness or so on and so forth. And the person knows this, and I just keep on eating sweets to the point like things are really getting serious and bad. If you go to the doctor and say, like, I was guilty in the past and I ate too much sweets, you can't help me, what's the point? Well, the doctor will say, good luck, because the simple fact that you have to overcome your own fear and guilt. And one of the processes of bhakti is that you realize that Krishna is a personality who sees your service more than he sees your faults. I will actually bring it up. Let's see if I can find that verse. And I'll ask. Yes, please pull up Chaitanya Charitamrita. Is it 15? Madhya 15. 108. Let's see, I'll pull up that verse. I have that verse. You should, that verse will give you so much of happiness, I promise you. No, it's 15. Let me look up. I know for a fact it's 108. Oh, no, Antya 1. Antya, chapter 1, 108. Sorry. 108. Yes, thank you. Kindly repeat after me. Prityasya pashyati gurun apinaparadhan sevam managapi kritam bahudabhyupaiti avishkaroti pishuneshvapi nabhyasuyam Shilena nirmalamate purushottamoyam. Vrityasya pashyati gurun apinaparadhan sevam managapi kritam bahudabhyupaiti Avishkaroti pishuneshvapi nabhyasuyam Shilena nirmalamate purushottamoyam. Preeti, it's just right that you read the translation.
Supreme.
You have to reduce a little bit. It's cut off.
The text is chopped. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is known as Purushottam, the greatest of all persons, has a pure mind. He is so gentle that even if his servant is implicated in a great offense, he does not take it very seriously. Indeed, if his servant renders some small service, the Lord accepts it as being very great. Even if an envious person blasphemes the Lord never manifests anger against him. Such are his great qualities.
Nice. So, approach Krishna. He is such a personality that he takes your greatest faults, not so much. Smallest service, oh my God, you did so much to me. I mean, who will not go to Krishna? Who has such mentality? Material world, you go to the boss, it's exactly the opposite. You have given your whole life, it's okay. Every employee does that. But you find 3 or 4 small mistakes, they are highlighted to be great, and your service to be small. Krishna is a boss that he'll do opposite. Small service is very great. Great faults. So, approach Krishna. Just somehow or other develop attachment to Krishna. He will never let you down. You'll never lose. You'll never fail. You'll never be disappointed. You'll never get anything but happiness in his company. And the whole material world is just created. Krishna is created to force the jiva to come to that point. You can stay in this world as long as you want, but you will be enduring the same limitations of a body, enduring the same frustrations of family, job, maintenance in this world. Krishna has created it so that the jiva can actually come to this point, that instead of serving this material world with all my might, life after life, giving my heart and soul to it, ending up in disappointment, let me try once to serve Krishna and see the results. You'll be astonished. You'll be astonished. Anyway, we sidetracked. I'll take questions. I have a really, really hard stop at 10:30 today. So if you don't allow me to complete, then I'm not going to pick it up in the next class. We'll have to read it at home, which is not a bad thing. So I keep your questions, write them down. I promise I'll take it. But we'll need to cover a little bit more ground. And fortunately, we'll have plenty of time in the later part for question and answers. So this is the basic qualification of a person who needs to do pure devotional service to Krishna. And if one becomes, that is why it is mentioned. Bhagavatam actually pushes this point. Bhagavatam is discussing about how, just a fraction of association with a pure devotee is the greatest blessing for the conditioned soul. Because by that, the affection, by that, the desire, by that, the dead spirit of bhakti that was lying dormant in me, now it's reviving, it's becoming conscious. And even though that is a small spark right now, but by serving and by chanting, it becomes a great fire that destroys all the ignorance that is there in my heart. So that's the reason why you find some people who are so pious. I mean, Warren Buffett is a very pious person, but piety does not lead to automatically to Krishna bhakti. Nor does a person who is wretched and rotting in a prison for a crime is devoid of bhakti. Our own Vaisheshik Prabhu mentions in the class that he had to go to a prison to give initiation to someone. So the idea is that material piety, material impiety is not the qualification. And if we can, the reason why I'm stressing this point is, we realize what a good fortune that we have, that we are allowed to serve Krishna. We have come in contact with Krishna. That initial stage, that material piety will not give me Krishna. But at the same time, I want to serve Krishna. That barrier we have crossed by the grace of Sri Guru, by the grace of Srila Prabhupada. We have crossed that barrier. They have given that opportunity. Now it is up to us to push. One last point. Prabhupada writes that one may remain very much attached to material opulence. One may remain unprepared to do so many austerities. These are too many austerities. Because they are still qualified to do bhakti, let's keep our judgment of devotee. In general, in our devotee community or wherever across the world, because everybody is having their own baggage, everybody is having their own past, everybody is having their own proclivities, karmic reactions, and their own purification that's happening with Krishna. Giving a broad rope to help devotees understand actually makes the devotee community stronger. If there is a very short leash and every time if somebody is just called out for small infractions, then the spirit of devotion gets crushed. But having said that, if there are some serious discrepancies amongst the devotee community, then that should be called out. Of course, that's why the temple management is there to take care of those kinds of things. But otherwise, we should reserve the judgment because everybody is coming from a very different background. Everybody has their own story and their own struggle of purification in bhakti. Right? Okay. This is the qualification, the basic qualification. Before I go to the next one, any questions on the basic qualification? Yes, Lakshya had a question.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So Prabhuji, can you have mentioned pure devotee like in every class. So can you tell me he falls under Madhyam Adhikari or Uttam Adhikari? What do you mean by pure devotee?
What a perfect question. And I'll tell you why. But I'll not give you the answer now. Hold that question. Others. Yes. Mataji.
Yeah. Sometimes people interact with pure devotees but don't take up to devotional service in their life. Why is that?
Because that's true, because Srila Prabhupada walked on this planet, there were many he met who didn't become, and it's a fact. I forget even Srila Prabhupada's time, we go on book distribution, we give books to so many people, and some people actually take the book, put it on the side and walk away. They never even open to read it. The act of associating with a pure devotee creates the impression in your heart. But it is not necessarily going to give rise to devotion right immediately then and there. Because my material attachment is so strong at that point that it automatically disqualifies me. So when things become a little bit more pious, that impression actually will start bubbling up. Till that point, no. But that interaction with pure devotee is never going to go in vain. Otherwise, Bhagavatam doesn't mention that. Tulyama lavenapi na swargam na punarbhavam. Bhagavat sangi sangasya martyanam kim utashishaha. That is mentioned in Bhagavatam. It is there in first canto, I don't remember. Tulyama lavenapi. He's like even a fraction of a pure devotee's association is the highest benediction. If there was, I meet a pure devotee and then I didn't take to bhakti, then there are two logical conclusions. Either that statement of Bhagavatam is wrong, which is not correct, because it's highest benediction, I should immediately jump into bhakti. No, because my material desires and the material existence is so strong that one small impression has not made a dent. Because there is a forest fire of material burning in my heart, and it is the drop that I met with a pure devotee. That's not enough to douse it. But the drop is never destroyed by the forest fire. It will be there intact. When time comes, it opens up. Helps? And we have seen so many people in the temple. They walk into it, they just are completely doing their own thing, and in a year they are initiated. Like, it's so serious. They just jump into it like fish takes to the water. Why? And some people, they have been hanging around this temple for 25 years. They never take initiation. There are cases. Yeah, helpful? Okay. All right. Next verse. Laksh, that's why I didn't answer your question. Yeah, that's why I didn't answer your question. So there are three types of devotees. Next, Srila Rupa Goswami discusses, who are Vaidhi Bhaktis, or what are the categories of those who are practicing devotional service. And he mentions there are three types of devotees. First is called Uttama, the second is called Madhyama, and the third is called Kanishta. And this is Srila Prabhupada's words used. I just copy-pasted it from Nectar of Devotion. Uttama, he says, first or uppermost. Madhyama is second-class devotee. And third, Kanishta is neophyte or third-class devotee. I didn't make it up, so don't blame me for that. But please understand, it's not an indictment. It's not a it's not a judgment. These are just the categories that are used. Okay, let's look up the next one. So Uttama Adhikari is a person who is extremely strong in scriptures and scriptural knowledge. But more importantly, they have a logical way of presenting it to the mass audience. They just don't use scriptural statements, but they use logic, they use persuasion, they have that kind of thing. And they can convince others about Krishna consciousness. Faith is strong and knowledge of scriptures is strong. That is Uttamadhikari. Madhyamadhikari is faith is strong, knowledge of scriptures is weak. And Kanishta is faith is weak, knowledge of scriptures is weak. And usually Uttamadhikari has few other things as well. They are Madhyama are preachers. Uttama, they don't preach. Because the reason they don't preach is they see this entire existence and everything within it as Krishna's will and Krishna's way things are happening. And so they don't try to quote unquote change it. But Uttama Adhikari can come to the platform of Madhyama to preach, like Srila Prabhupada did. And Madhyama Adhikari has 4 other characteristics. They have love for Krishna. They are very friendly towards the devotees, compassionate to the ignorant, and envious, and neglect those who are envious of Krishna. Those are the other 4 characteristics of Madhyama. And we can go at length on why are you neglectful of those who are envious of Krishna and all that, but that's for topic for some other time. And then Kanishta is, they are Prakrita devotees, which means they are materialistic devotees. They come to the temple, but they have so many other things that they go outside. And usually they go to different temples, different philosophies, different gurus and babas, and their faith is not completely strong in Krishna consciousness. And, you will see them once saying that, they will come up to you sometimes, say, oh, you should listen to this Baba, you should listen to that philosophy. What about this one? This looks good. So this is Kanishta. And usually they approach Krishna more or less in a way that is materialistic, and also their faith can be easily swayed. If somebody comes and gives superior arguments, really, how is Krishna Supreme Personality? Durga is the actual person. This is not correct. Or, and then they can easily be changed. Their faith changes. So that is Kanishta. I'll come. One of the things in our spiritual life is to know where we are at and move up the ladder. And this is, something will help. And other thing is, one should not imitate. Uttam looks good, Third class, who wants to be called third class? So let me imitate Uttamadhikari. One should not do that, because you will easily be bewildered. You'll easily be bewildered. Srila Prabhupada actually gives an example in Chaitanya Charitamrita. He says that Haridas Thakur, and this comes in, for those who are keeping track, it's in Antya chapter 2, where the glories of Srila Haridas Thakur are described, that he would actually chant 192 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra every day, which would be approximately 21-22 hours of chanting straight. 64 rounds will take 8 hours, 64 times 3 is 192. So that would pretty much take the whole day and night. And Srila Prabhupada said, imitating Haridas Thakur will be, I want to chant 192 rounds every day. But following his footsteps is that I'll chant my rounds, 16 rounds, very, very strictly. So there is the imitation and the following of the personalities. It will come naturally. See, the thing is, through sincerity, one shouldn't worry like one is worrying about a career or business growth. I have a goal and you need to push, and I have to push through this to get this, and you go to your boss, say, I have to go to the next level, they say, no, do this. While we aspire to grow in bhakti, it is not necessarily out of a calculative attitude. It is just a sincere and humble approach that automatically, because of my external service with simplicity, with no duplicity and seriousness and sincerity, Krishna from within will guide on how he will give promotions from within. And it could be he can give you guidance to go to a particular devotee or share your heart and how to grow and so on and so forth. It will come naturally. So just stick around bhakti and then do your sadhana. Over a period of time it will happen. Yes.
Prabhu, on Hare Krishna Prabhu, on the Uttama Adhikari versus Madhyam Adhikari, you said that Madhyam Adhikari knowledge is good, but can be defeated in when there is a debate or something like that. But when there are some pure devotees who are not as in depth when it comes to the scriptural norms and so on. So is this knowledge beyond scriptures? It's just the inner feeling. Like the example I'm thinking is the devotees who are so attached to the holy name that they don't even care about the scriptures and so on. So is that just a very different phase? They're like outliers?
Can you make your question a little more explicit? Let me paraphrase it so that I understand. You're saying that if I'm too much into bhakti on one limb, for example, holy name, then I don't need to worry about the knowledge, and the knowledge will come from within. And it could be just a perception or a feeling rather than taking help from scriptures.
Yes, Prabhu.
Kind of?
Yes.
So, in the next few, if you can hold on to that question, but I'll clarify it right now. In the few next items we'll come to the rules and regulations of bhakti in the next few classes. The 5 limbs of bhakti, they become really important. And they are A, B, C, D, E. A is association with devotees, B is Bhagavatam, C is chanting, D is deity worship, and E is entering Vrindavan or staying in Vrindavan. So those limbs are very important, and reading Bhagavatam is one of the important limbs of bhakti. In the Uttama stage, the knowledge is fully revealed either through one's own reading of scriptures or by Bhagavan's realization. But till that point, our chanting has to be supplemented by reading. And our reading and hearing and chanting has to be supplemented by deity worship. So both the limbs have to be there on that.
Thank you, Prabhu.
And there is no feeling as far as feeling. So feeling is that it can be a dangerous thing if you don't have Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. So oftentimes that feeling might not be, is your feeling in line with scriptural injunctions? Is it in line with sadhus? Is it in line with Shastra? So those are really important in the sadhana stage. But for exalted acharyas, for example, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and others, their commentaries, it might seem to be a little unusual, but because they come in that parampara, we accept those words. But till that level, I think we should make sure that we are having Guru, Sadhu, Shastra as the triangulation point. Is that helpful?
Thank you, Prabhu. Prabhu, one extension, if I can.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
On Kanishta Adhikari, you said that they are weak in their conviction. In terms of realistic progress, is it an initiated devotee who's Kanishta or pre-initiated devotee who's Kanishta Adhikari?
Okay, we will come to all those questions and then come with Laksh question. What is your question? Yeah, okay, then let me complete that. Initiation or pre-initiation doesn't define Kanishta. Actually, you can get initiated and be a Kanishta because initiation is a beginning process. Where you have some attraction for Krishna, so you take shelter of a guru, you can still be on the Kanishta stage. In fact, it is mentioned that, yeah. So, the Guru also can be a Kanishta or Madhyama. Yeah, it is there. We can look up Nectar of Instruction. Let's look up. I'll text 5. I'll just quote Prabhupada's books or keep it simple. I think it's text 5, Nectar of. Krishneti yasya giritam manasadriyeta. If you could type in, can you Control F Kanishta? See if it brings up something. All right. So this, please read this because it will give you a deeper thing. Come down, please. Move more, Kanishta. Go for it. Keep on. Yeah. Okay. Next, please. Next. This is an important thing. Please read this homework. Okay, next. Yeah. This next. Next. Yes. So, Jambavati, please read this paragraph.
In this verse, Srila Rup Goswami advises the devotee to be intelligent enough to distinguish between the Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyam Adhikari, and Uttam Adhikari. The devotee should also know his own position and should not try to imitate a devotee situated on a higher platform. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has given some practical hints to the effect that an Uttam Adhikari Vaishnav can be recognized by his ability to convert many fallen souls to Vaishnavism. One should not become a spiritual master unless he has attained the platform of Uttam Adhikari. A neophyte Vaishnav or a Vaishnav situated on the intermediate platform can also accept disciples, but such disciples must be on the same platform, and it should be understood that they cannot advance very well toward the ultimate goal of life under his insufficient guidance. Therefore, a disciple should be careful to accept an Uttam Adhikari as a spiritual master.
So you can see how, yeah, they should clarify. Yeah, there's no one-to-one. Yeah. Laksh, Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So, Prabhuji, I was reading Srimad Bhagavatam and Sri Prabhupada purport in 14th chapter, first canto, 35 texts. And he says as, and after surpassing the Brahmanical perfection, one has to become a devotee of the Lord so that his loving affection in the form of proprietor, master, friend, son and the lover can be transcendently achieved. The stage of devotee which attracts the transcendental affection of the Lord does not develop unless one has developed the qualification of a Brahmana as mentioned above. The Lord is inclined to a Brahmana of quality and not false prestige. Those who are less than a Brahmana by qualification cannot establish any relation with the Lord. So how to understand this? But
those who are Brahmanas cannot do Vedas or cannot have any access to Vedic, but a Vaishnava is greater than a Brahmana. And Vaishnava can be converted to a Brahmana, or less than a Brahmana can be converted to a Vaishnava by chanting the holy name and becoming a devotee. The Vaishnavas are greater than Brahmana.
yeah, that's for sure. But Prabhupada here mentioned that those who follow 12 qualities in quality, like they are Brahmana, and then after surpassing those 12 qualities, one can be called as a devotee.
It's not surpassing. So by that stretch of imagination, see, the question has to have some logic. By that stretch of imagination, unless you become a Brahmana, you can never become a Vaishnava. How would Prabhupada give initiation to all these people, Mlechas and Yavanas, quote-unquote Yavanas of the West? He's He's contradicting his own statement. So you should think a little more.
Thank you so much. And Prabhuji, when you mentioned pure devotee, so which category he falls in, Madhyam or Uttam? So
When you mentioned pure, thank you. That was your original question. Pure devotee can be in any category. A person who was actually, because please understand this, these are the stages of a candidate who is qualified to do Vaidhi Bhakti. We talked of pure devotional service. Rupa Goswami right now is bringing the type of people that can do, or the qualifications of bhakti we spent at length, correct? Who is neither too attached nor, we discussed that. Which means you are already in the realm of being eligible for pure devotional service. Then he brings Kanishta, Madhyama and Uttama. Which means amongst pure devotees, you can be a Kanishta, you can be a Madhyama, or you can be an Uttama. The problem is this though, because in a Kanishta stage, your intention is to be a pure devotee, but your position is not to be is not been there yet. I just have the intention that has arisen from the association of the previous acharyas. But I'm not there yet. I have to work for it. So you are a pure devotee by intention, not by position, which is Kanishta. Make sense? No, you have more question, I can tell from your face. Go for it.
So Prabhuji, then how it is Sudurlabha if anyone can be by intention or by pure devotee? So
we discussed this at length. In the Vaidhi sadhana stage, you will not have Sudurlabha concept only. It's only Kleshagni and Shubhada. That's it in Vaidhi. You will get that. Sudurlabha is actually in the Bhava stage. Sudurlabha and Moksha Lagutakrita are in Bhava. Sandrananda Visheshatma, Sri Krishna Akarshani comes in Prema. Helpful? All right. More questions? Yes.
Okay, I'll be very quick. I know we have to move on.
No. We have time. And the best part is, I'm happy because this class has a lot of homework. Please continue.
We were just discussing like a guru could be Kanishta or Madhyama. What if a Kanishta guru gives like a dharmic instruction and the follower follows it? I think there are some stories in Shastra where like cases have been like that. Like how does that affect the follower or like the disciple?
So that is why it is incumbent on the disciple to understand and then choose the right guru. If a guru is on Kanishta, Prabhupada says you will be a Kanishta, and there is a high chance that that guru can be swayed. As a Kanishta, you should never ever accept the position of being a guru. First things first. The very fact that you are accepting being a guru on a Kanishta platform is a serious issue that you need to address first. Because your faith, your thing is, you are a Prakrita Bhakta, which means that I accept disciples, and then you will target only disciples who are wealthy or who are about to be wealthy, who are famous or about to be famous. Because I am a Prakrita Bhakta, I need that. You will be, and then the problem is this. Your wealthy disciple says, oh, Guru Maharaj, come here, but don't talk all these things. Only I need this because my wealthy friends are coming. Don't talk too much about dangers of earning wealth, because that is a serious, that's going to be against my agenda. You should just talk of, how. So you will be just completely bewildered soul. You never should ideally not accept a guru being a Kanishta. Even Madhyama is hard.
But like just like as a philosophical debate, like how does that affect the disciple like from a dharma perspective?
Dharma perspective, you will be bewildered. You will say, okay, there is supposed to be happiness, there is supposed to be knowledge, jnana. My guru has nothing. Because why? I thought I could be a guru even though I am a Kanishta. That is your defect. And then the problem with the disciple is, you don't know who you chose. You wanted this guru who will be under your control, rather you be under the control of your guru. So you can see how cheater and cheated, that is the whole world is going on.
But I've heard like, there's like pativrata. So like even if the husband is not dharmic, like there's like virtues that a wife can get. I've also like heard some
Mata,
similar-
you are going on a tangent, which can open up a whole can of worms with pativrata. That's a topic of discussion we can have when we are not broadcasting live. This can be in a little bit more closed room settings with a lot of devotees, of course. That closed room setting, that has to be. Is that helpful? Because we go on a whole other tangent. It will open up a whole other can of worms. It will open up a whole other, not can of worms. It's good to always have those discussions. We should never, I'm sorry to use the word can of worms, but in one sense, we can go discuss, and Shastrik, when we do Shastrik studies, we'll go threadbare, even if it makes uncomfortable, even if the scriptural statements seem to be contradictory, opposing, confusing, impractical. We should discuss it completely threadbare, to the effect, to the extent that we shouldn't fear controversial discussions. And that's what Chaitanya Charitamrita says. But then there is a time, place, circumstance for such discussions. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Ramananda Rai to discuss, they had the Ramananda Rai discussion where he said, no, go more, go more, go more, go more. And the best part is this though, after a stage, Mahaprabhu, he took his beautiful lotus hand and put it on the mouth of Ramananda Rai. That's enough. This cannot be going beyond more than the setting that we are in. So it is not that we should not discuss. We should discuss, but there is a time, there is a place, there is a circumstance. And Bhakti Shastri is, please understand, you are doing Bhakti Shastri, which is a high school diploma. We will go Shastras at that level. But we can go really deep for somebody who's interested. But there is, again, the platform is Bhakti Shastri. Just wanted to come add that as well. Online there is a, but please keep the questions coming.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
No, who raised the hand? Okay, Prabhuji, go. Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Prabhuji, my question is, so at Uttama stage, can there be fall down? I don't know if fall down is the right word, but if you take the example of Bharat Maharaj, who was probably at Uttama stage, but still he got attached to the deer and then took birth again the next birth as a deer, right?
Yes. It's mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita that even if you are in a position of Lord Shiva and if you commit Vaishnava aparadh, there is a chance for falling down. So yes. Fall downs have nothing to do with, I mean, they have something to do with bhakti, but it is a possibility, correct?
Thank you.
Thank you. Of course, please.
There was a slide which said to not be too attached as well as to not be too unattached in terms of bhakti. So does the idea of renunciation change based on what stage of bhakti you are in? Because if you take the example of Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj or Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed Raghunath Das Goswami to renounce the world. So how does not attached come into the picture here?
Oh, I see. So, attached in the sense, you are saying that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Raghunath Das not to be attached to this world.
First he said like you should stay at home, and then later on he said like renounce everything and
Correct.
go. So how does not unattached come into the picture here, because there was a definition?
Because in the Mahaprabhu, he is expert on when to get you out. You just say, this matter is, I am always yours. And then he will give time to when you can be attached and when you can be detached. A lot of devotees have, like many people have, let's not even say it in the open, but they'll have like some secret desires always. And sometimes they are falling in whichever. Most of the devotees have one secret desire. When can I retire full time and join or become bhakti? And how long should I work? That we'll leave it to Krishna. He will, that's where he can actually truly help us become firmly detached. Even artificially, a devotee might say, I'll do full-time bhakti and I'll give up my job. Later, because of the innate desires that are still there, that engagement is missing and people will get frustrated. So the whole idea is that leave it to Krishna, just do your bhakti. Unless those internal desires are cleansed, then it's not possible. I don't have scriptural reference, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu might have noticed that in Raghunath. You stay there now, and then Raghunath, he told the same thing to Gopal Bhatta, you serve your parents, and then only come. He gave many instructions like that. So the best thing is Sri Guru's instructions, you just follow. Yes.
Prabhuji, on this I heard a lecture, so please correct me if I'm wrong. They say that first we need anurag, attraction to lotus feet of Krishna, then vairagya, and then yukta vairagya. It works like this.
No. Yeah, so actually I'll get vairagya means that, see, the reason I say is this. Vairagya is detachment from matter, any matter. Kanishta is expert at worshipping in the temple, but he doesn't recognize others as devotees. Now, if you put Vairagya first, and for a Kanishta Adhikari, how does it work? Be detached from deity worship, it's all material. No. Yukta Vairagya means training under the Guru in the proper way right from the beginning. There is no step there process. In fact, my way of seeing is that at a later stage, for example, Raghunath Das Goswami and even Srila Rupa Goswami and others, they were not too much into worshipping the deities themselves. They constructed the temples on the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Srila Prabhupada writes in the Nectar of Devotion, one shouldn't be enamored too much by constructing big temples or accepting huge number of disciples. He mentions that as well. So there is that fine balance. Yes.
Prabhuji, I understand the classification. The question is, how can I still be not thinking about devotees as to who's Kanishta and who's not? Uttama, it's like very clear. But not to think on those lines and just consider everyone on a, as I want to be in a mode of servant of the servant rather than having this distinction in my head, although I want to learn for exam, but still.
I see your question. Does too much discrimination lead to fault finding?
Yeah.
The answer is yes and no. If you're usually those who get to this knowledge, the knowledge will create a sense of pride to find fault in others. The same knowledge can be used to see that where am I and how I can improve. That knowledge imposed on myself will help me elevate, but the knowledge imposed on others will help me find fault in others. So it depends on how you use this knowledge. Because there is a genuine burning need. I really want to know where I am and I want to advance. So I need to learn. If I don't do that, then there are two problems. The generic thing, like everybody is great, everybody is on a pure devotional platform, and everybody is good, why even discriminate? The problem is, Rupa Goswami says that with different levels of devotees, the behavior is different. For Uttamadhikari, you have to practically serve them. You have to take their instructions. But for Madhyama, you physically offer respects. For a Kanishta, you mentally offer respects. But if you flip it around, because everybody is the same, then let me serve a Kanishta and take instruction. Because their faith is weak, they will give you wrong instructions. So there is a need to discriminate for my own advancement. Helps? Preeti, helps? All right. We have to discuss one other aspect where Srila Rupa Goswami discusses about it, because This one often comes up. It'll take some time. The next one, next slide, please. All right, so he brings up the 4 types of devotees. And for those who did not take the Bhakti Sastri first semester, is this verse, famous verse from Bhagavad Gita, Chaturvida bhajante mam janah sukritno arjuna, artho jignasura-artarthi jnani cha bharatarshava. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that 4 types of devotees surrender unto me or seek my shelter. The 4 types are distressed. In who is distressed amongst the list? Gajendra. What happened to Gajendra? Why was he distressed? There was a crocodile that was holding on to him and wouldn't let go for 1,000 years. That's a problem. And then distressed. Then who is next? Who wants material wealth? Who was that? Dhruva Maharaj. What did he want? He wanted a rented house in Palo Alto. No, mansion in Palo Alto. Rented house. No, mansion in Palo Alto, right? No, he wanted a kingdom greater than Brahma. That's a tall order. Then after he got, he regretted, or was he happy that he got the Dhruva planet? He regretted because I should have asked the Lord 3 Dhruva planets, 1 for selling, 1 for renting, and 1 for myself. No, he asked the Lord, why did I ask for material things? Then who's, distressed, seeking wealth. Who is the other person? Inquisitive. Who are inquisitive? Thank you. They were inquisitive. Who is God? Why is this God? How is he God? Or he is God? No, this coconut is God. Who is God? So inquisitive. Then those who are already in knowledge, they are 4 Kumaras. So you'll be surprised to know that these devotees are not eligible for pure devotional service. They are not, because they approach the Lord with certain material motives, which jnana karma dhyanavritam. If you approach the Lord with a material motive, which means you want to enjoy the fruits of your results or karma, that is covered by karma. If you are approaching the Lord with jnana, then it is covered with jnanavritam. It is mentioned that all these personalities became pure devotees after they met the Lord. Dhruva, and Kuladip is here, he can correct me always. Dhruva, he met the Lord, and then he approached the Lord with material motive. But then when he saw the Lord and he met him and saw him, he was satisfied. He says, why? Why did I ask the Lord? Then he became a pure devotee. And amongst the Dhruva's prayers, there is one that actually it's pointed out there. Gajendra also, there is a famous prayer, Ekantinovai. So they meet the Lord, or by the mercy of the pure devotee, they become eligible for bhakti. The 4 Kumaras, they met Lord Shiva. And then by the association of Lord Shiva, they got a desire to go and to the Vaikuntha, and then they smelled the aroma of the Lord's lotus feast, they became converted. Shaunaka, by the mercy of Sutta Goswami, they became. So the idea is that these 4 types of devotees are not even in the realm of pure devotion. But so you can see how rare it is. The whole goal is not to berate or to go out of the Bhakti Shastri class and say, I am better than 4 Kumaras. That's not the purpose. They are exalted. Those personalities are so exalted. I mean, you reach the Bhagavatam, Nimi goes, and the Prithu Maharaj is there, and 4 Kumaras come. He's like, they wash their feet. He's exalted personalities. The idea is how rare is pure devotion. We should know, because if you don't know all these things, then you'll be, chant kar raha hu, I'm doing chanting, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, nothing is working out. This is a useless process, this is a hopeless process, this is not for me. No, we need to know the nuances to understand what we are getting into. And the other aspect is this. Krishna also knows what he is getting into. That's why he is testing you. Because Krishna is captured by the love of his pure devotee. He becomes subordinate to his pure devotee. And this is that absolute truth who nobody can conquer, who nobody can claim victory over, who nobody can say, I am better than him. But he comes and says, yes, my devotee is better than me. So it is a very, very, it's a step that's going to take many, many lifetimes, maybe for some people. For some people, it may be short. So the whole idea is that we never give up hope. We never give up, why. And then we'll come to the next portion of it. But before that, we have some questions. Again, I have, go ahead, please ask. Preeti and then...
Okay. Prabhuji, what if you are somewhere in between? Say, when you're serving the Lord, there is no intention, like you don't want something because you really love doing that. But at the same time, you have this entire laundry list of problems. And in the last class, you said you should always go to Madan Mohan asking for it. So, अब क्या करना फिर?
क्या करना? Just go. Just go. Because the idea thing is, the best part is all these personalities went to the Lord with problem. The beauty is the Lord never neglected them because, hey, you have a problem, why are you coming to me? He approached each of them, and you know what, let's pull up that verse. This should satisfy her. 5th canto, 19th chapter, 27th verse. Let's do that verse. Because the Lord, and I'll tell you why. You will get it. There is a very special qualification that kind of comes about this. And that's why you should approach the Lord. Doesn't matter. Because He never treats you, chi, aage, fir se. We'll read this verse. And then you'll, exactly, that's why I brought up this verse. I know. Kindly repeat after me. Satyam dishatyartitamartito nrinam. Okay, let's do that. Satyam dishatyartitamartito nrinam. Naivarthado yad punararthitayataha. Swayam vidatte bhajatam anichchatam. Ichchapidanam nijapada pallavam. Satyam dishatyartitamartito nrinam. Naivarthado yad punararthitayataha. Swayam vidatte bhajatam anichchatam. Ichchapidanam nijapada pallavam. All right. Vicky, please do the translation.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead fulfills the material desires of a devotee who approaches Him with such motives, but He does not bestow benedictions upon the devotee that will cause him to demand more benedictions again. However, the Lord willingly gives the devotee shelter at His lotus feet, even though such a person does not aspire for it, and that shelter satisfies all his desires. That is the Supreme Personality's special mercy.
Happy? Mata, are you happy? You approach the Lord. That's why I said approach Him. Because He is expert in giving in such a way that He will not ask, plus buy one, get one free. His lotus feet. He will give, even if you don't want it. I didn't come for your lotus feet. Yeah, just give me this. No, I'll give you. Because it will be completely sad. So that is why I approach him. If you approach the demigods, they will not give this mercy, this special mercy. That's why I'm saying go. Don't feel, I have to be a pure devotee and I'm not there. Yes, that feeling is natural, it should be there. But that should not stop you from approaching Krishna. I mean, that's where it, again, recognizing one's own adhikar. Krishna, I am here. Please help me move up. I cannot fake. Fake it till make it might work with others, but not with you. Because you know my entire life. People run the credit history. He knows million life history. You know everything. The very source of my breath and the very source of my thought is you. Without you, I can't even have the thought that I am having. So how can I cheat saying that, oh no, Krishna, I am your pure devotee, but under there are so many problems. He knows. So that's why, the word is used in that one becomes completely naked before Krishna, as in like, I don't have any pretenses. Naked in the sense my own innermost desires. I don't need to cover it up with anything else because he knows. Helpful? Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So, in terms of offering, or asking for relief from distress, or asking for material wealth, or knowledge, are the types of examples of devotees that we talked about. What if can we offer Sri Krishna our past and
everything, past, present, future, body, mind, senses, everything is his, offer it to him.
And he will like it regardless of if we offer a bad fruit versus a good fruit. If all we have is a bad fruit, he'll still.
So, you know the story of Vidura and Krishna when he goes to Hastinapur?
Mira?
Vidura.
Vidura.
No, I'll tell the story in brief because we have certain things to cover. So, Krishna goes to Hastinapur for trying for peace because the war was imminent and they were doing everything to make sure that the peace or the war was averted. But Krishna goes as a last-ditch effort on behalf of Pandavas. Let me go and try to see if we can avoid this war. And he goes to Hastinapur. And then we know the story of how Duryodhana entices him with palatial buildings and fine cooks and, best of entertainers and so on and so forth. And then Vidura's house was really simple. He didn't have the finest of the foods or the opulences or nothing. But Krishna declines Duryodhana's invitation and goes to Vidura's house. And Vidura is... And the Mahabharata mentions that there was no advance notice. There was no RSVP. He walks in directly into Vidura's house. Just imagine. It's like... if your guru goes to your home, all of a sudden you are like, my God, what is this? Krishna is walking directly into your home. And then Vidura is like... And then they just don't know what to give him, and then just because he came and they just give him a nice place to sit and everything. And then Vidura is so overwhelmed that Krishna came to him and tears were coming. And then he was taking the banana, peeling out a banana to give it to him. He forgot in his ecstasy that he gave the skin rather than the fruit, and Krishna ate that skin. So if you reach that stage of love, yes, but if you are in the sadhana stage, please be careful. Give the best to Krishna. Yes. Yes.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, if you recognize that you have many material desires, there are two approaches I see. One is this one in front of us of you ask Krishna if he can fulfill that material desire. The other is you can ask Krishna if he can take away that desire entirely. Is there a process that is one of these approach is better than the other?
It depends on you. You're trying to curb the material desire. You're curbing, because they are so strong, they are coming up. And you say to Krishna, I'm not able to do it. I neither am, but through my own effort or through my own sadhana, I'm unable to remove this desire. So I'm approaching you now. Please help me remove it. And at the same time, we are very sincere, very serious, and do the best we can to avoid as well. Because that way, okay, I have a bad habit, it is Krishna who has to do it. I don't have to do anything, because that mentality will lead to that. And this mentality might lead to that as well. Okay, Krishna is anyway, it's his responsibility to clear my material desire. I keep on asking material desire. Krishna also knows that cheating tendency, he will cheat you. So there has to be a balance. Good point though. Laksh, yes. Next question, I'll charge you $5 extra. I'm just joking. The whole idea of Bhakti Sastri is that you should ask questions. Otherwise, I can ask you to just study at home and give the exam and we are done. But asking like this the knowledge becomes strong. So please, yes.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So Prabhuji, in last class also you gave example of Kardam Muni, and Devhuti. But that was a special case in advent of Lord Kapila. But also Srila Prabhupada gives us example that old lady was going to the forest and suddenly wooden blocks fall. She was praying hard, and when Vishnu arrived or Krishna arrived, she asked that, can I get the wooden blocks on my head again? So asking for material desire is like having a bunch of material problems on our head. But you say that we can ask anything, but
because here is this. He does not bestow benedictions upon the devotee that will cause him to demand more benedictions. That is the point. That is the key phrase. He will give you, but he will not ask more. Dhruva didn't end up asking, I should have asked more. Or next time, let me do it. I'll improve my efficiency rate. I saw Krishna in 6 months, now let me improve it in 5 months. Why? Because I want 2 Dhruva Lokas. No. So he will give you, but in a way that you will not ask again, Baba. You will not. If you and this is the complete case of all these examples. Time and again, Bhagavatam says, why are Gajendra mentioned in Bhagavatam if it is only talk of pure devotees? Why is Dhruva mentioned in Bhagavatam? It's only talk of pure devotees. Why is Kardama mentioned only if it is talk of pure devotees? Bhagavatam is a story that is helping all the jivas to come to the platform of pure devotional service, irrespective of the material desires. And the theme is Bhagavan Sri Krishna or his avatars.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. No more. All right, last question.
I'll combine 2 together for last one.
Good Lord. Okay.
So, Prabhuji, first, and also this, if we really consider Krishna as Paramatma, why we need to ask? He resides inside, so he knows everything. And second would be, which, like Kanishta, Madhya, and Uttama, which category of devotee asks from material desire? Can you also tell in this?
So basically, you feel that you are so elevated that the Lord is sitting as Paramatma, you would automatically fulfill without you asking. That's what you said. I answered your question, and let's move on to the next question. I mean, the question, think about it. Is it like, so the Lord is sitting, he should just fulfill my desires without me even asking? I mean, just reflect on that question. I mean, do you want that? You are saying that he has to give me, a physical thing he has to give me, but he has to give me that I shouldn't even ask. I mean, how much of a sense of, I don't want to get into the negatives, but you get the point. All right. The second question is, what is that you asked?
I mean, devotee who asks for material things, which category he falls in? Kanishta, Madhyama?
Doesn't matter. Because the whole idea is that it depends on the consciousness of the devotee. I'll give an example. The cowherd boys are the eternal liberated souls friends of Krishna in Vrindavan, and yet when there was a forest fire, they asked Krishna to protect them, like Gajendra did. It's not in the same category. The consciousness changes, the material, it's not a blanket statement, which means, oh, I'm a Uttam. I'm suffering from cancer, but I should never ask Krishna. Because it's a very, very personalized, highly individualized cases. There's no, because the connection is Krishna at all levels. The asking and the state of consciousness can be very different. Prabhupada asked for money. At one point, Prabhupada said, I don't want money. But later he said, I want money. When he started establishing Krishna consciousness movement, he openly said, Mayavadis, they say, oh, money is Maya, we shouldn't touch it. Give me all that money, I want it. Because he had a purpose. So it depends. Yes.
Is it inherently somewhat selfish to not like the material world and want to leave?
No, it is, again, it is never desire to leave material wealth. It is, my basic standard is, I will ask Krishna, or I will maintain myself with whatever I can get. But if there is a special project for Krishna and I need money, then I'll ask for money. Material wealth is driven upon two things. One is minimum wealth for my maintenance, maximum wealth for Krishna's opulence. But usually it becomes other way around. Minimum for Krishna, maximum for me.
Oh, sorry, Prabhu, I meant material world. Is it inherently selfish to just like not want to be here?
Sorry, Mata, I didn't get your question at all.
Is it inherently selfish to I don't like this distress that we are like put into? So is it inherently selfish to not want to be here?
Yeah, the whole purpose of this material world created like this is Krishna is giving you the feeling. I'll give a simple example. If you go to prison, a person has been accused of committing, heinous crime. You go to the prison. And in the prison, you'll find actually the room is quite comfortable. The AC is there and you have the thermostat. You have TV with all the channels. You have Wi-Fi, more importantly, with 2 computers, access to games. The final part, you just have menu on order like a cruise ship. You can ask anything, anytime you want. Would you like to leave the prison? Would you like to leave the prison in spite of all the comforts? Okay. Would you like to leave the prison? Would you? Would you? But know what the prisons are? You know how they are? There is barely anything. The walls are dingy. It's very, very austere. You have to wear certain clothes. You have rules to follow. You'll be really, really severely disciplined. Why do you think the prisons are created like that? So the prisoners feel like I should get out of the prison. If I am making it very comfortable, I wouldn't get out of it. Material world is like a prison, and Krishna has put all these things so that we realize our true spiritual nature and go back to Him. Instead of thinking there is if I set up all comforts in the prison, then I'll never want to go out. Why did Krishna make this world so difficult? Because to come, hey Atma, oh Jiva, this is not your place. This is a prison. You have to come back to me. So that is how the world is created. Oh my God, there are so many problems. Yes, those problems can become impetus for the devotee to advance. But if you are in the conditioned state and the material state of existence, you will be constantly complaining over the problems. All right.
What is the difference between spiritual happiness and devotional happiness? And then also, is there any difference between liberation and spiritual emancipation? Because these are the words Prabhupada has used in the purport.
So spiritual and devotional happiness is happiness identifying with Brahman, that I'm not this body. That's spiritual happiness. Devotional happiness is happiness coming from pure bhakti. Emancipation, liberation and spiritual emancipation, the whole idea is that liberation can be one of the 5 types of liberation, which was a major topic that we had to discuss. We'll try to wrap up. But spiritual emancipation is where I want to be reinstated as a loving servitor of Krishna. The liberation is different. So we'll discuss that in the next few minutes if possible. Is that helpful? Okay, I will stop. Questions, I'll take more. I'll go back to the slide because we have to cover a few things. Next slide. See what do we have here. So after discussing about the three types of devotees, Srila Rupa Goswami, he turns on to this topic of liberation. And kindly repeat after me. Bhukti mukti sprihayava pishashi hridi vartate tavad bhakti sukhasyatra katam abhyudaya bhave. Please do the translation.
How can the happiness of bhakti arise in the heart when the witch of desire for enjoyment and liberation remains there?
So it is mentioned that the power of prema or the affection for the Lord, it overwhelms the mind and senses. And liberation, at that time, the liberation becomes really insignificant for the devotee. Okay. Most of the schools, whether it is any school, any parampara, the moksha or liberation is taken as the highest end point. Yes or yes? In fact, any sampradaya, whether it is Shankaracharya or Ramanuja or Madhva, liberation is taken as the ultimate goal of one's life, which is dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. But when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, he established that moksha is not the ultimate goal of life. The idea that I will serve Krishna, I am his eternal servant, he is my eternal master. And that relationship of servitor and the served is the essence of my spiritual existence. And it doesn't matter or change even if I am liberated or not. This is a very radically different concept of Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy, that your idea of loving and giving pleasure to Krishna is so much that I don't want to ask him for anything, including liberation. And this concept has to be understood threadbare. That will really help us. Because in the initial stages, it might seem that I'm trapped in the world, and when Jiva comes to realize I'm not this body but the soul, and I need to go back to God and back home, back to Godhead, then it seems that liberation seems to be the easiest way. And when you hear of statements, oh, Krishna can give you liberation like this, but he will not give you bhakti. So liberation seems easy. And when we are facing with some troubles, then the thoughts of liberation come naturally to the mind. I'm not this body, I'm struggling, I should get out. But Rupa Goswami actually cautions that we should take a time to not aspire for it. And we'll go to the next slide, sorry. Kindly repeat after me. Shri Krishna Charanam Bhoja Seva Nivritta Chetasam Esham mokshaya bhaktanam na kadachit spriha bhave. Anybody wants? Yeah, Chitalila, you didn't get a chance. Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Devotees who are absorbed in the bliss of service to the lotus feet of Krishna should never desire liberation.
So it can be controversial statement. The answer, the controversy is, what if the devotees are not getting the bliss? Can they see? Devotees who are absorbed in the bliss of service to the lotus feet of Krishna never live realization. Well, I am not. I don't get any bliss. I can go for liberation, right? So the whole idea here is that our ultimate aspiration is to get bliss in service of Krishna. Otherwise, liberation will become another trap set by Maya Devi to say, I get away, I'll give you liberation. Don't approach Krishna's lotus feet. Because by bliss of serving Krishna, by prema, Krishna is bound. He will do everything to not be bound to his devotees. And the devotee has only this goal, that I want Krishna's lotus feet. So that synchronization, Srila Rupa Goswami is saying this. I'll tell you one last point. Rupa Goswami is our Paramacharya, one of the most, if not the prominent personality in our disciplic succession. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Ye. He knew the innermost desires of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu personally, in many places it's mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita, I gave him full mercy. And he said to his devotees, now you all give full mercy on Rupa Goswami. Everybody gave mercy. He was a personality who really knew the innermost desires and whose words were so perfect that he could write a verse and we would take it, that's it. Rupa Goswami wrote this verse. But being an Acharya, he always quoted something and then gave scriptural proofs backing it up. He gave, this is the verse that is not in any scriptures. This is the verse that was composed by Srila Rupa Goswami. The chapter 3 is ending with this verse or somewhere in this, the philosophy concept, saying that you should not aspire for liberation. And usually when Rupa Goswami gives a statement, he'll give one verse from Srimad Bhagavatam mainly, but he'll give from so many scriptures, he will give proof for his statement. For this, he gave 30 verses, 30, saying why the devotee should not seek liberation. The entire 4th chapter is that. All those 30 verses that Rupa Goswami quotes, saying that why the devotee shouldn't choose liberation. And there are many facets to it. So please read, that is a homework. Please read the 4th chapter. Now read with this in the background in the mind. We will see 4th chapter. If you open up 4th chapter, please. Because you will see one after another. Prabhupada is just quoting bunch of verses. It doesn't make sense. Why is it being quoted? He's just quoting 30 verses just to highlight this point. And I'll give you a few examples of what it is, and then you will get the idea, and then you can read the 4th chapter with that in mind. So, okay. We can go. Come down, yeah. No. First, logo looks okay. So here it is mentioned how much a devotee is seriously attached to the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of God. So I think I'll ask somebody online to read the first paragraph. I think we can read the paragraph and go for it. Anybody online who wants to read?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, please.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
How much a devotee is seriously attached to the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead can be understood from the statement of Maharaja Prithu Adiraja, which is described in Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, 20th chapter, verse 24. He prays to the Supreme Personality of Godhead thus, "My dear Lord, if after taking liberation I have no chance of hearing the glories of your Lordship, glories chanted by pure devotees from the core of their hearts in praise of your lotus feet, and if I have no chance for this honey of transcendental bliss, then I shall never ask for liberation or this so-called spiritual emancipation. I shall simply always pray unto your Lordship that you may give me millions of tongues and millions of ears so that I can constantly chant and hear of your transcendental glories." Hari Bol.
Hari
Hare
Bol.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So this particular verse is talking of Sayuja liberation, where the devotee loses their oneness and merge into God and have no identity. Maharaj Prithu is saying, I never want this because I want that relationship of service to the Lord rather than merging. So you can see that is one aspect of liberation that is highlighted. And in this way, you can see the whole chapter. There are a lot of verses that give different aspects to it. In the second verse, it's Maharaj Bharat. He gave up everything and he didn't ask for liberation. So the devotional service to the Lord is so pure that material things seem to be insignificant. So you can see how every angle is mentioned. And Srila Rupa Goswami establishes that this particular point. And that is the 4th chapter, which you can read it as homework. And we'll continue from 5th onwards. Yes, Mataji.
So we talked about, so some of these motivations are impersonalist, like spiritual emancipation. Why are there so many impersonalist paths in India? Is it because of Kali Yuga, or are these two paths like they've always been there for other yogas as well?
So it's a whole other topic, but there was 2,000-3,000 years ago, there was a rampant killing of animals in the name of Vedas. And then Buddha came and established non-violence. But even though he was an incarnation of Lord Vishnu, he preached against the Vedas and established non-violence. Shankaracharya came and he was ordered by Lord Vishnu to preach this theory of monism by juggling the words of the scriptures in a way that makes it attractive to others. I mean, you want to be the best in the world. Now, if I can establish a theory that you can be God, oh my God, that's so attractive. And actually, it's a pun intended. You don't say, oh my God, oh I God. It's so intriguing. So to establish that, Shankaracharya came. But there are, so the Mayavad actually, or the monism took roots from Shankaracharya. Then Madhvacharya came, he defeated, and then so on and so forth.
Okay, so it's safe to say that Mayavad philosophy is a result of Kali Yuga, not like in other yogas, people were not like looking to merge.
No. I mean, if you read scriptures in the pure consciousness, you will come to one conclusion, that there is God and I am not him.
But they had like Ashtanga yoga and everything.
So
but that was yoga.
So, okay, maybe when you come to the Bhakti Shastri class for the first semester, we have a yoga ladder. Yes, God is realized in many ways. Please understand that impersonal realization of the God is not same as me being God. There is actually a realization of God through impersonalism, which is Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. You can realize God as Brahman, as Paramatma and Bhagavan. In the Brahman realization, you realize God that he's impersonal and I want to merge with him, but never to the point that I'm equal to him. That equality or I'm same as God is a perversion of Brahman realization brought about by Shankaracharya. All right. More questions? Hare Krishna. So we completed 4 chapters. And then towards the end of the 4th chapter, Srila Rupa Goswami introduces the concept of why Krishna, why not Vishnu? And then he says, in theory, both Krishna and Vishnu are the same personalities. But because this book is Bhakti Rasa Amrita Sindhu, and the talk of rasa is there are qualities in Krishna that are not there in Vishnu that evoke rasa amongst his devotees. And that is the point that he leaves at the 4th chapter. And then we continue on from the 5th chapter onwards in the next class. Any final questions, comments, concerns? So grateful for you to come. Yes, Prahlad, that'll be the last question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandat Pranam. So, Prabhu, you mentioned that Rupa Goswami says that why Krishna and not Vishnu, right? But if you see in Bhagavatam, a lot of devotees, right, they worship different forms of Krishna, right? So would they not have this knowledge at that point in time? And it's just a little bit confusing. Like, why would not they worship Krishna? For example, Bharat Maharaj prayed to you, said some Narayan form, right? So that was the question.
I didn't understand your question. I'm really...
So you said that in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu,
yeah,
we are told that why we should worship Krishna, not Vishnu, right?
Okay, continue with that thought.
But in Bhagavatam, we see that different devotees, they worship different forms of Krishna, right?
Yes.
So would they not have this knowledge that Krishna is supreme?
They have, but okay, you know what? Let's okay, we'll discuss that verse maybe in the next class because of lack of time. But in the nutshell, when we join ISKCON, we worship Radha Krishna. But every jiva has their own form of the Lord that is their eternal connection with the Lord, and they serve the Lord in that capacity. And the Lord will appear to that devotee in the form that the devotee worships and establish the rasa. For example, we have Hanuman, and his Ishtadev or his worshipable deity was?
Ram.
And that's it. So that is see, Krishna is Lord Rama, Vishnu, it is all one. This is one personality appearing in unlimited number of forms to unlimited number of devotees. And that doesn't mean that they are two different personalities. They are the same, but showing or manifesting a form that is amenable, it's worshipable by the devotee. And that's the reason why we mention in Bhagavatam like this. If you want to do homework, extra homework credit, then read a Bhagavatam 3rd canto, 9th chapter, 11th verse. 3:11:9, correct. 3:9:11. Next class we will enter into the rules and regulations of bhakti. Maybe it's there. 64 rules, and we can get into that. Yeah, there are 10 do's, 10 don'ts, 10, 10, 20, then 44 of some extra, all the limbs of bhakti. So there are 64 rules. That's why. And that is only condensed version. Don't read Hari Bhakti Vilas. To do Ekadashi in Hari Bhakti Vilas, you will be like, oh wow. Anyways, anything else? Okay, I will stop.